please.
Tired.
Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a moment of silence, please. Roll call.
Council President Stiriz?
Here.
Councilor Schneider?
Here.
Councilor Stickley?
Here.
Councilor Chamberlain?
Here.
Councilor Stiriz?
Here.
And Councilor Frey?
Here.
All members are present. We have a quorum.
Council has had time to read the prior meeting's minutes from April 2nd and the Committee of Whole minutes from April 12th.
I would make a motion to accept the minutes as printed.
Second.
Motion to approve the minutes as printed made by Councilor Stickley and seconded by Councilor Frey. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you. On the agenda today, we have a couple of things. Everyone got the updated agenda today? Okay. All right. First on board, we have Paul Zumfaldi, who will be present to Council regarding the progress of the pool project.
Thank you, Kathy.
Yes.
You answered all my questions when you just came back here. My questions were, there was, when I was working for the new pool for Wauseon committee, before I got Agent Orange problems from Vietnam and can't stand very long anymore. There was a lot of lifeguards from the past who would like to be invited back for the dedication ceremonies, and Kathy just said Dennis would be in charge of that, right, Dennis? So if you work with me and just send me an email, I've got a whole list, probably 20, 30 from way back in the 60s. They would like to be invited back for the dedication ceremony. So as soon as you find out when
I
that
think that
is,
would be really cool.
yeah, and that's all I've got. I think you guys have done a great job. I appreciate everything you've done. When the new pool for Wauseon kind of disbanded because of my injuries and illnesses, why put it towards a vote. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Love the support. So that's all I want to say. Thank you. You've answered my questions.
I think we
appreciate it.
said on the same, we went into this first meeting together
Yeah.
for the very first meeting for the swimming pool, way back when they first started on getting this going. It's been a long time coming, so I appreciate all the efforts that you put forward in getting this going too,
Yeah.
Paul, because you've been through this from the beginning,
Yeah. Yeah.
way back. It's been a long
It's been 8
time.
years, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I appreciate everything that you've done, so thank you very much. And if you will make sure that we get the information, because you're a hard person to get hold of. I'm starting
What's-
to
I got a
get
cell
your
phone number.
information on that. Your phone number I had, but you can leave it with Andrea and
Okay.
our email, you said?
Yeah.
Do you have an email number?
Yeah,
Okay.
Paul Zumfaldi.
So is that the best?
Yeah,
All right, we'll go with the email then.
yeah.
And just leave it if you want.
I'll put it on. I'll put it
Yeah,
on the registry.
That would be the best way.
Okay.
And we'll continue, and then also it'll be on our webpage,
Right.
that we can make sure that the public is aware too when that opening day, pending we don't have as much rain, hopefully.
Right.
That will slow down so that we can
Yeah,
keep
hopefully
our
we'll have
guys
a
going.
spring before long, right?
Right, they did pour the concrete Friday. They did an amazing job. We had a good day Friday, and what was it, 32 yards that they put out Friday?
Yeah, approximately.
You mean for the
Somewhere
deck?
in there. Yeah.
Okay.
They made a big dent, so
Yeah. I'll just stop down there and see it on the way home.
it looks good.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
Okay.
I can't stay much longer.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
Okay, and next we have, let's see, any questions at all for Paul before we move on? All right, Matt Spees from Maumee Valley Planning. He's here to discuss the emergency legislation that we are going to be having with the CHIP agreement. So, Matt?
Hi, and thank you for your time. We're making our semi-annual application for CHIP funds from the ODSA. And there's an amendment that's been presented that there are only a couple of changes that we're addressing to the amendment. They're minor, mostly meant to comply with some tweaks in the regulations on the state level. So commitments that we make with funds that the city might have on hand from previous CHIP programs, which the city actually doesn't have. But how we cooperate with other organizations is addressed in there. Just some real minor tweaks to how we're approaching this. We're applying for slightly less funding this go around because slightly less funding is available. So, and I can answer any questions you might have about the program. I can tell you that we're right on target with the commitments we made for the city with our 16 application. So we're about to undertake our 4th rehab, and we've got funds allocated for a few more home repairs, roofs, furnaces, that kind of thing.
It's described to us, Matt, as emergency legislation, is time sensitive.
It's very time sensitive. There's a public meeting tomorrow, but the application is due on May 4th. So that's why we're looking at a shortened application period this year. So.
I appreciate you coming in and answering the questions here for us. Anybody else have any questions for Matt?
Thank you.
very much.
Thanks,
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, great. Let's move on to committee reports. Utility Committee, which happened right before council on April 2nd. Shane?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'll be reading from those minutes. Shane Chamberlain stated the only way to, it's in reference to Biddle Park basketball courts. Members present were myself, Jeff Stiriz, Harold Stickley. Also present was Dennis Richardson and Andrea Gherkin. Again, I'll be reading from the minutes. Shane Chamberlain stated the only way to have lights on at the basketball courts at Biddle Park is to schedule a time with the Recreation Department. He stated that the lights at South Park are accessible by the public and are on a timer. Shane Chamberlain stated he would like to do the same thing at Biddle Park. Jeff Stewart stated they might as well be on a timer too. Dennis Richardson said he is unsure how this can be done or the cost, but will contact the electrician and see if it is possible. Shane Chamberlain recommended that it be looked into to see if this is possible and what the cost would be. Motion was made by myself and seconded by Jeff Stewart, and all voted in favor of Dennis doing some research on the issue. Tonight, new information, Dennis has shared with me a dollar figure of $1,700 to make the change to the lights at Biddle Park so that the public would be able to access the lights.
Is that both poles, Shane?
Dennis.
Is that both poles? There was 2 poles, 2 light poles out there, I noticed.
I didn't go out there with them, John Arps did. That's supposed to be total cost, and I would imagine that if they turn one set on, they're turning all of it on. I think that's how they
I was
figure it.
wondering if maybe there was gonna be a switch on both poles. Just-
I don't think so. The way the lights are configured out there, you'd be creating dark spots in corners of the other courts if you didn't turn them all on, so.
So if you go out to use one court, they're all going to come on then?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
It's not that big a deal as
No.
far as the cost is concerned.
right. And that's including installation?
So my hope tonight, I guess, would be that council would maybe make a motion and have it pass for Dennis to spend those funds on making those improvements.
Do we know what fund this is even going to be coming out of? Would this be coming out of the
Just take out
parks?
of Park O&M.
Do they have that in there to take out?
Well, no, we didn't budget that specifically, but I think the fund can stand it.
Okay.
Procedurally, to make it clean, council would probably want to vote on the recommendation to look into the project and that would be accepting the recommendation, and then want to proceed with the cost. That would just be a separate, I would do that by separate motion. So the first would be just to vote to approve the recommendation to look into it, just so we have it clean.
I'll make a motion we move it.
Although it's already been done. Although it's already been done.
Sure.
Oh.
Okay.
We'll make a recommendation after the fact.
Well, what are we
So
looking
you made a
at?
recommendation before the fact, actually.
And we're now seeking council approval.
Yep.
So procedurally, maybe Dennis shouldn't have acted upon the recommendation until,
No, I didn't say that. I just think it would be cleaner if you have a recommendation, which is to authorize the looking into it, that you do something with that recommendation. If you don't want to do anything with the recommendation, I guess you don't have to. You can let it lay, take it off the table.
I mean, it doesn't, the minutes don't reflect the recommendation came from the committee.
I thought there was a vote.
Yeah, but there's nothing,
You recommended it to be looked into, and then there was a vote, and everybody voted yay.
okay. So, yeah,
It's not a big deal, just trying to dot the i's, cross the t's.
well, we don't want to miss any i's or t's.
So you need a motion from us to look into it?
Accept the recommendation.
And accept the recommendation?
Yes.
You want to make that motion? You already went to it.
Yeah, I'll make that.
I would second that motion.
Okay. Motion to accept the recommendation of the utility committee made by Council President Stiriz and seconded by Councilor Stickley. Is there any discussion? Council President Stiriz?
Yes.
Councilor Stickley?
Yes.
Councilor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Councilor Stiriz? Yes. Councilor Frey?
Yes.
And Councilor Schneider?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
I make a motion to authorize Dennis Richardson to spend $1,700 on making the lights at Biddle Park accessible to the public.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion to install, to allow Dennis to install the lights at Biddle Park basketball courts made by Councilor Chamberlain and seconded by Councilor Stiriz. Is there any further discussion on that?
For the 1,700.
For the $1,700. Councilor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Councilor Stiriz?
Yes.
Councilor Frey?
Yes.
Councilor Stickley?
Yes.
Councilor Schneider?
Yes.
And Council President Stiriz?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Okay. Alrighty, moving on. Simply because this came in late this afternoon, but I wanted to get it across to you, was the EMS minutes. Did everybody receive those in your packet, or did you get it in front of you, an email? None of you got the EMS?
They did.
I don't recall.
In the brand new packet that I sent out like 3:30, so you may not have seen it.
I didn't open
They
it.
did.
I see it.
You didn't open
I
it?
saw.
I did not.
If you want, then I can wait until the next meeting. It's nothing of importance, so that you guys can have time to read through the minutes. Like I said, I just received them after calling and asking for the minutes. That meeting took place March 21st, I think, and we are just now getting the minutes, yeah, March 21st. So I called to ask for the minutes, and we just got them. So if you want, I will table this until the next meeting so that everybody has a chance to read through, because there was action on that one. Okay, then that would be it for committee reports. Department heads. Is there
I have nothing new to report unless anybody has any questions.
nothing else?
New fire truck insurance?
No, we're waiting on some hard suction and some hose supposed to be delivered this week. So,
Looks good.
thank you.
October?
Unfortunately, I have a lot more to add, so. One thing, and I have to apologize, I did not get it to Andrea until 4:30 today. We had a new grant come in that we've been awarded for the JLE. It is for replacement of our computer server downstairs. The money has not been released yet, not sure when the money is going to be released, but I do need to get the paperwork done. So I'm asking in new business if I could get a motion to accept, to allow the mayor to sign the paperwork necessary for the JLE grant. Like I said, I apologize, that's my mistake. I thought it was on that until I read the agenda today at 4:30. Second, the coffee with the city department heads, April 18th, 8 to 9 at Bigby Coffee. Love to have you all there if you're able and willing. Drug Take Back Day is April 28th. It's the last Saturday of this month from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with drop-off locations at Walmart, Rite Aid, as well as up here at our office. And I know it's hard to believe, but Safety City registration is open and started already. So if you know any kids going into kindergarten, have them contact our office and we'll get a application to them, or see Karen Ballmer. I think we have like 24 kids already signed up, and that's rising. So and that's what I've got for today, unless anybody has any questions.
I do have a request for a safety and code meeting with the chief. I don't know who is all on that. Somebody has requested that.
Scott, Rick, and Steve.
So, okay. So after the meeting, that we could set that up for some nuisance on noise in the streets.
Okay.
What's it for?
Okay. Streets, noise, nuisance. Okay?
Okay.
Alrighty, great.
Oh, I know what Karen's struggling with some health. I mean, is she still engaged? She's a bulldog, I know.
She's been doing it for 30+ years, and
Okay.
we have other teachers available if for some reason she can't do it.
Okay.
But she's heading it up, directing it, sending out the letters.
Good.
She was in my office just the other day, bringing the stuff over, making sure that I had it. So she is good to go for another year for us.
Glad to hear she's still up to
That's
this.
Okay. Dennis, welcome back.
Yeah,
Nice and tan.
it's much nicer where I was.
Yeah, well, you didn't bring any back.
No, much to my chagrin as well. Tuesday the 3rd, after the last council meeting, we had the pre-construction meeting for the water tower repair and painting project. It all went well. The contractor did mobilize late last week and is on site working on that project. On Wednesday the 4th, we had the pre-construction meeting for the project at the water reclamation plant for the biosolids handling project. That also went well, and that contractor is already on site and proceeding with their work. On the subject of the pool, we need to schedule a committee meeting. I'm not sure which committee you want to be engaged with this, but we need to come to consensus, talk about admission prices, pool pass prices, and so on. There are some other list of pool rules and things like that that we have on tap for the committee as well, so.
Somebody a good job for the finance.
That's what I said, finance.
I took a peek at building grounds.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, could go either way there.
I was thinking building and grounds myself.
It wouldn't be streets, and it probably wouldn't be safety and code, so. Anyway, whoever you deem, Aaron, we'll get that scheduled and going. In a meeting with Group Rosebrock about relocating some of our water main around the new hospital project. Putting together some information for EPA permit to install that. Obviously, at some point, it'll change our easement for the water line because it won't be where it used to be, and it'll be in some new places. So that's moving forward. I think that's about it for this time.
Any questions for Dennis? Yes?
Yeah.
Oh.
That water tower, when they're done with that, are you the one that gets lucky and gets to go outside and check their work inside?
No, we're paying some very nice inspectors to do that.
Oh, okay.
They'll bring us down photographs.
Okay.
Get a drone.
Hey Dennis, I know you kept me up to speed on that speed slide, but could you share with the council where we're at on the speed slide? a little
Yes.
bit?
Yes, as you know, the speed slide was cut out of the pool project initially to help make the thing fit within our budgetary means. I've twice posed the question to the architect to find out what it would cost to put that back into the project and try to get a timeline for when it could happen if indeed we came up with the money and authorized it. He does not have a definite answer yet, but with his initial conversation with the pool contractor, they thought it could be done for very close to the same amount of money that we got to deduct from the project for omitting it. And that price was $25,804. Now, my guess is they're going to come back slightly higher than that because they'd have to remobilize and so on and so forth. Because the slide people, they've already been there and they've already done their thing. The other thing I learned this morning at the pool construction meeting was that, contrary to what we had been told before, the slide manufacturer did not manufacture the speed slide when they manufactured the other one.
So it's not holding.
No, so it's not sitting in a warehouse someplace and readily available. So it would have to be scheduled, there'd be a lead time there. But all that's semantics, depending on what they come back with for a price and then what you guys consider you want to do.
Thank you, Dennis.
That's where we're at.
Is it gonna be tougher to install?
Actually, the platform and the bracket apparatus is all in place. And the only other place that it fastens down is right at the edge of the pool, and we're making provisions for that when they pour that part of the deck, so that won't be an issue. So it'll hook right to the existing platform. And it's hard to describe, but there's a couple different masts that hold up the windy slide, and there's just 2 or 3 swing arms that are already attached there that come out to hold the other slide up.
Okay.
So the bracing and all that's already there. It's just a matter of the slide itself and the additional pump in the pit to run the water down it. And it's all plumbed for it as well.
That's all within the concrete, not in the center section where the stone was put?
Correct.
Okay.
Is there any idea how long it would take to install it once we decide it? I mean, after it's made, could they come in on a weekend and put it in, or is it gonna take longer than that? Or didn't they give you any?
I don't have that information yet.
I just wondered, since everything seems to be ready.
I would guess they could come in and be in and out of there in 1 to 2 days.
That would make sense, because everything's ready for it.
But
So you need an approval of the finances before we can go ahead and have anything like that started.
Right, but I can't ask for that approval or have you consider it when I don't know the exact dollar amount yet.
Gotcha.
As soon as I get that information, I'll share it with you all.
Thank you.
Anything else for Dennis? When, Attica Street, when is that gonna begin? Attica?
The sanitary sewer on Attica Street.
I see the
We're just,
markings.
well, the engineers were out, they did a survey and they're just starting to draw it up, so it'll be a while.
Okay. And Jamie was not feeling good and ended up going home today, so I don't have a report from her.
Been finishing up work with Andrea and Dennis on the engineering contracts. I think we've got most of those in place, maybe 1 or 2 outstanding yet. Only a couple of small matters for Rick, some collection work, and then some communications that need to be sent out. And got a couple projects to follow up with Chief Torbett on. Other than that, that's pretty much it by way of my usual public service announcement on the planting of the trees in the Indian Hill Trails by Homecoming Park. We're all set to go. We had everything queued up on Friday, and then when we realized that the weather was going to be poor, we sort of implemented a postponement protocol, which we exercised at 7 o'clock on Friday, and then got the word that because of the weather we were going to have to cancel the planting for Saturday. But we've got it rescheduled for this Saturday, and we're anticipating still hopefully 50 to 60 volunteers will be out from folks from across the community, from the school, from some of the clubs. Rick has been an important part of that as part of the tree commission and as a council member. We have, on Friday, or Thursday, we had 175 flags where trees are to be planted, placed in each of the 2 woods, so that's 350 flags. And then Tim Dennis and his crew went out on Thursday actually also and drilled holes for each of the trees. So we have 350 holes in the woods for trees to be planted. 350, I have to say, Rick dug probably, 35, 40 of those holes himself over on
I
the
was too worried to count, so I.
south part of Indian Hill with a shovel. He didn't have one of the drills. He actually dug it the old-fashioned way, so I appreciate Rick's work on that. But so anyway, we're all set to go. It looks like right now good weather for Saturday, so we'll be reaching out to the volunteers again this week and confirming everybody. And we'll have a nice little lunch afterwards, and it should be a really nice community event. And we'll have 350 trees planted. Oh, you're in now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Kathy, put you on the team. Thank you,
Yes.
Kathy.
What time is that, Tom?
9 o'clock. We're thinking about shifting it maybe a little earlier to 8:30 because some of the folks have prearranged events on that day, but we'll get the word out on that. It's 8:30 or 9. We'll get your word on that early. That's it.
Any questions for Tom?
Pray for sunshine.
Yeah, it's supposed to be cooler, but hopefully we won't.
Dry, yeah.
Yes. Okay, let's move on to legislation. First reading. Resolution 2018-12, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Huntington Bank for a new credit card policy.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to place resolution 2018-12 on first reading moved by Council President Stiriz and seconded by Councilor Stickley. Is there any discussion? Council President Stiriz?
Yes.
Councilor Stickley?
Yes.
Councilor Frey?
Yes.
Councilor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Councilor Stiriz?
Yes.
And Councilor Schneider?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Resolution 2018-13, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an amendment to the 2014 Maumee Valley East Chip Consortium partnership agreement between the County of Henry, City of Napoleon, County of Fulton, and the City of Wauseon, and declaring an emergency.
So moved. Second.
Motion to place resolution 2018-13 on emergency moved by Councilor Schneider and seconded by Council President Stiriz. Is there any discussion? Councilor Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Stiriz?
Yes.
Councilor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Councilor Frey?
Yes.
Councilor Stickley?
Yes.
And Councilor Stiriz.
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Final passage.
Second.
Motion to place resolution 2018-13 on final reading made by Councilor Chamberlain and seconded by Councilor Frey. Councilor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Councilor Frey?
Yes.
Council President Stiriz?
Yes.
Councilor Stiriz?
Yes.
Councilor Stickley?
Yes.
And Councilor Schneider?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Moving on to second readings, Resolution 2018-10, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Stantec for engineering services.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to place resolution 2018-10 on second reading moved by Councilor Schneider and seconded by Councilor Stickley. Is there any discussion? Councilor Schneider?
Yes.
Councilor Stickley?
Yes.
Councilor Frey?
Yes.
Councilor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Councilor Stiriz?
Yes.
And Council President Stiriz?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Resolution 2018-11, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with PAC Engineering for engineering services.
I make that motion.
Second.
Motion to place resolution 2018-11 on second reading moved by Councilor Stickley and seconded by Council President Stiriz. Is there any discussion? Councilor Stickley?
Yes.
Council President Stiriz?
Yes.
Councilor Schneider?
Yes.
Councilor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Councilor Frey?
Yes.
And Councilor Stiriz. 6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Okay, we have nothing under third reading. And anything for new business?
Yeah. Chief wants a.
Chief's
Motion.
got
Yeah,
for
recommendation.
J.
That's
Gelly.
my-
Yes.
I'll make a motion for the.
To authorize the mayor to enter into an agreement, sign the paperwork for the JAG Elite grant.
Same thing he just said right there.
Got it.
He took the words right out of my mouth.
Okay, motion to allow the mayor to sign the authorization to accept the JAG Elite grant, enter a new agreement for the JAG Elite grant, made by Council President Stiriz and seconded by Councilor Stickley. Is there any discussion? Council President Stiriz?
Yes.
Councilor Stickley?
Yes.
Councilor Schneider?
Yes.
Councilor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Councilor Stiriz?
Yes.
And Councilor Frey?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
I have one question, Mayor. I talked to Dennis a little bit, and it's gonna be brief. As far as like airports in the state as well as in federal, we have an airport layout plan. So everybody at the airport knows the 5-year, 10-year, or 15 of what we're gonna do. And Dennis briefly told me it was good to talk to me about that. Said the city used to have that when it was Mayor Matheny, but since Mayor Dane Bussell, Mayor Shaw, and yourself, we haven't had that. So I don't know if it would be more interesting to someone like myself to know what is the plan of doing streets, cities, sewers, rather than at the, it seems like it's always kind of an emergency now. So I don't know, maybe that's more work on Dennis or somebody else or a committee. So that's the only thing I was
Your
asking.
infrastructure plans.
Yeah. So and I know you was probably on council when that was going on. So I don't know what you think about it. That was just something I wanted to bring up.
I think when those plans started, way back when we were talking with Jerry, some of the big projects that we did, like the line to Napoleon and stuff like that, those were things that were planned that we would have to budget for, you know, when we would start planning ahead and stuff like that. But as far as the other ones, I mean, we ended up having to cut a lot of the budget for some time, like in this job. I'm thinking when that started about 06, 05, and so a lot of the planning ahead kind of went to how are we going to make it to the next year plans. So you're right that a lot of the planning ahead to projects then kind of came to a huge halt. And the past councils, including myself when I was on those councils, was to try to see how we can get back into starting that now that, you know, we have a little bit of leeway. Swimming pool, that was a levy. That was something that, you know, we put forward, started on council here. When I sat on council, you know, what can we do in planning and doing that, you know, concession stand of how we're going to do this.
I know Heather always talking
yes.
about it, so.
It has to start with the.
It's got to start somewhere, so.
Right, but what do you want to see? Do you want, like, we've been doing it in the treatment plants, you know, as far as what's coming from EPA, what we have to do with our, you know,
I mean, I'd like
some of that, but.
I'd like to see a 25-year plan of what needs to be done, not saying we're going to stick to it, but something, so I mean, I'd almost make a motion that say, Dennis, in your spare time over the next 2 months.
Or tonight.
That's not gonna happen.
No, and with the EPA, I will say with like our lines, our sewer lines and our you know, getting out of, and stuff, that's always something that we've been working on and trying to, you know, continue, but it's a matter of putting it in place. I think we did the water lines, the mapping of the water lines and getting that all put on. And we presented that to the city, when was that? Probably in 2012, I'm thinking. No, it was before I left, probably 2011. That was put on and council got to see all of the infrastructure, underground infrastructure. That was probably a 5-year process that took place. So, I mean, it's not that it hasn't been done, it's just the fact that we just didn't have the financing to see what we had that we can go. But you're right, it needs to be done.
There's a lot of projects that's been done, such as the street at Biddle Park, the extension, and Linfoot Street was an expensive project, and the state's going to be an expensive project. So there's been a lot of projects that the city's done. It's been very expensive. So I didn't know if it would be a benefit. Some residents say, when are you going to do this, when are you going to do that?
Well, and a lot of times they're on the books to be done.
Sure.
And then something comes, you know, like, okay, let's just, you know, put some more trees in, or let's put a trail in, or let's, you know, build some more this and that, and then our funding goes this way.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like, the hospital's got a 100-year plan. You know, chances are good, probably most of the things I see are be around to see what happens in 90 years. But,
Right.
I mean, a 25-year plan not saying we're gonna do it, we realize that things, money does, but at least it gives you something to, you know,
Right.
look forward to, and I think,
A timeline needs to be placed on
on
getting,
one
at least
year,
getting
they'd like
that
to
done.
get different stuff done.
Yeah, agreed.
You know,
But,
Well, and I know that Dennis has got enough on his plate, I think. So, I didn't know if committees with the buildings and ground and others
well,
could assist on any of that.
it's actually, from what I've always thought, it needed to be done by administration and the workers who are doing it, and like EPA telling you, and, you know, what has to be done.
Yeah, it probably needs to come from this direction,
Okay.
right.
us collectively.
But I don't think you could do everything with streets until you knew what sewers, because like
Right,
Superior Street, after you did the sewers, you need to fix the street. So I think you gotta get an idea where your sewers
Right,
are to
that's
be
why-
replaced first, so that then you can come along and do
And-
the streets thereafter.
That's why it's gotta come from that
Right,
direction, 'cause
right.
they know
They know.
what's done, so that's why it's gotta come from that direction.
Which is stuff that the city doesn't know. A lot of the mapping and stuff has been, and a lot of the smoking and what, you know, all of that stuff, that is part of the plan. So, okay, this is what needs fixed on this end, and then they have to, you know, and it's just a matter of,
A lot of what you're asking for already exists, it's just not on paper.
right, which
Right.
needs
I
to
know
come
that.
back
I
so
know
that
that.
they can see it.
Hopefully nothing
You're
will
right.
happen to Dennis, is my thoughts.
Well,
Yeah, it's,
that's the problem. We've lost a lot of knowledge in the last 5 years, not just with our infrastructure. We've lost a lot of knowledge that from retirement,
Exactly.
so.
So I thought if we could get something on paper, 5 or 10, and not immediately, in the future, it would
It's
assist
always a great,
everybody to start over and start a process. I don't know.
I'd say, I'll look forward towards the next 25 years. I mean,
it's not too hard to ask. 25 years is
not that long.
No.
I mean,
I want to be 95.
right.
Happy 96.
It was just a question I thought I'd bring up because it's,
not. Okay.
okay, thank you.
Good question. And like you said, Heather was asking almost quarterly, she would bring
Yeah.
that up because it is important.
I won't bring it up for you. I promise.
Anything else? Okay. And we have a motion to pay the bills.
I would make that motion. Second.
Motion to pay the bills as presented made by Counselor Stickley and seconded by Counselor Chamberlain. Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Frey?
Yes.
Counselor Stiriz?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Stiriz?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Can we have a motion for adjournment, please?
I would make that motion also.
Done second.
Motion to adjourn moved by Counselor Stickley and seconded by Counselor Schneider. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Frank can't get his candy bar yet.